Welcome back. We're going to be talking about the IEM Katowice 2021 Overexplained YouTube video series. We're going to be taking a look at the round of 4 of this tournament. We have Parting versus Zest, two great top Protoss players. Looking forward to casting their games and going over what PvP is in a nutshell, because PvP is kind of a conundrum. There is a certain right way to play, and then there's, the way other players play in the ladder that kind of beats the right way to play. It's interesting. It's not necessarily rock, paper, scissors, but does leave something to be desired. He really requires a lot of scouting, a lot of hallucinated phoenixes, or something that you would expect. I'm sure Party has some surprises for us. Can't wait to jump right in. So let's just jump right in. We're gonna have a Game 1 PvP on Death Aura. I'm probably gonna be seeing some cannon rushes. Probably wouldn't be surprised. Get Death Aura on PvP. Party versus Zest. If you enjoy the content on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. And check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/ArchonSC2. All things RTS strategy and high-level gameplay. Alright, so since we are seeing two Protoss players, we're going to leave the screen on manual mode and see exactly what's happening. We're going to see a quick rally point down to the low ground for a low ground pylon and wall off for the parting. And for Zest, we're going to see it looks like a high ground pylon. So Parting is looking like he's going to be wanting to do a 1-gate expand, 14 pylon for both players. We're probably going to be seeing, of course, very similar build order for the most part, until we can get at least down to the second gateway. Might be the first difference here. Going to be seeing that 16 pylon for both players, or excuse me, 16 gateway for both players. Interestingly enough, we do have that low ground gateway, which is an interesting, very interesting thing. I've never seen that before. For Zest. Not too sure why you would do that yet. Going for that 17 gas for both players here. It doesn't necessarily contribute to the wall off, and it doesn't necessarily contribute to blocking depths here. The only thing I can think of is that the building space is so bad on Death Aura. You don't have a lot of room to build, that maybe that's why. Maybe. Does offer that second game. Oh, actually, I'm stupid. I know why he did this. Because this is a very popular cannon rush map. Very, very smart from Zest, and this is the reason why, because they put the cannons here. I'm not a big cannon rusher, so I didn't know that. I do know Death Door is a good cannon rush map, but yeah, that's exactly why he puts the gateway there, to prevent any cannons from being dropped down here. I'm curious if that would really do anything to, cannons can still be dropped down here. He may use the gateway as a wall off itself, but it becomes a lot harder with the gateway here for sure. Wow, very intelligent play. Very intelligent. I might have to steal that. So yeah, if you are facing cannons on Death Aura, you might want to consider doing this anti-cannon gateway placement. Very cool. Very, very smart. Parting opting for the double gateway wall off. More traditional PvP play. Placement. So he's just going to be rallying 2 guys in each gas geyser. 2 guys in each gas geyser. 22 pylon. Parting's 22 pylon goes down as well. So it's interesting. It's important to have the second pylon by the minerals, because in case there's any oracle or threat of a proxy Stargate, if you scouted your opponent didn't see a second pylon, for example, or a missing third pylon, it could indicate that there's a proxy Stargate on the field, and it could be proxy oracle. You're going to want to have a shield battery here somewhere in the mineral line, and the only way to do that is if you have a pylon near the mineral line as well. So both players opting for a second pylon by the mineral line in between these 2 gas geysers, so they could drop down a shield battery in the natural, or in the main mineral line here. Will we see adepts or stalkers? So double stalker from Zest. So this is a temporary zealot. It's going to get canceled almost. So what you see here, even though the zealot is in production, it's a fake. This is just going to give the opposing player the visualization that there is something in production, and what this means is that the Protoss player who's doing this wants to make another tech structure, or go for quick nexus, or do something. They don't want to spend this resource here. Just wants to give the appearance that he is. He's not gonna make a zealot. Does change it for a stalker. Goes for that pylon block. Pretty annoying. Pretty good. Whereas Zest is uncontested. And we are going to be seeing a quick Stargate out of Zest. Now here's the thing. Zest has a slight advantage at this point. And the reason why is because there's no probe in the base of Zest. He can drop down his tech structure immediately. Whereas Parting, Zest is in his base still. So Parting cannot drop his tech structure immediately. He's got to wait until this probe is escorted out, therefore giving Zest the advantage. It's not an advantage. So let that pylon finish. So Parting putting his probe here because he's expecting adepts, and it allows him an opportunity to place down a pylon to block any adepts shading in. So the idea is to keep these stalkers occupied, and then having something shade by and slip into the probe line. Now that this pylon's almost dead, he's going to be pulling the probe to make that nexus now. Okay. But meanwhile, this Stargate is still here. Still voting. Both players opting for that shield battery inside of the natural base. We do see an Oracle. It is going to be the Oracle play. Not surprised. Twilight Council for Parting. Pretty standard follow-up. Twilight Forge. Again, pretty standard. We're going to see that +1 weapons and Blink Stalkers, most likely. Do you see a Proxy Pylon here? Interesting. This could be DT's, actually. But if it was DT, he wouldn't really get the Forge. But it's looking like it might be DT, based on this Pylon placement. It's timing. It's too far away to be a gateway warping. You know, it's too far. Parton does see the Oracle. He's going to get a good shot here. Honestly, not that bad. 3 probes. Not that bad. Pretty good. Good damage here. Another Oracle ready to come in here. It is going to be the Dark Shrine from Parting, as expected, with that pylon placement. Revelation here. It does show Blink. It does show the Forge. So if I was Zest, I wouldn't really suspect DTs. We don't see any third gas, fourth gas here. We do see that Blink is being researched. Now this could be a real Blink. It probably is real Blink, or it could be a fake Blink for the gas. It could be both. They're both okay. There's nothing wrong with getting Blink here. He probably should be getting gas geysers, at least 3. Number 3 is probably important for this kind of build here. He can only afford like 2 DTs. He can't really afford too much in terms of DT. It's 125 gas for DT. And of course he's going to be spending some gas. He's going to get +1 weapons here. Maybe some additional stalkers. Now, what does Zest see? Oh, he sees almost everything but that. Unfortunate. He does. Oh, he puts his own gateway up. How cute. Puts his own little aggressive gateway. find it interesting that Zest would do this, considering the fact that he's kind of opened up a defensive manner in a sense with this Stargate.
The enemy has discovered us.
Oh, this Oracle barely gets out. 4 hit points. Does Revelate. I mean, again, if I was Zest, I would be feeling pretty comfortable. I would not be expecting these DTs. Do we see a Robo here? We do not see a Robo. Oh no! No Robo from our Zest Protoss player. That could just be GG. I mean, he has Oracle for Revelation, but that's such a bad detection source, especially with the 10-second cooldown. So this is gonna be GG, honestly. There's no way. This is gonna get really ugly really fast. If he splits his DTs as well. Alright, so he does. Luckily, he does have 2 Oracles. And honestly, this is where. So, Parting has 3 DTs, right? We have 2 Oracles on Zest. Now, it has a 10-second cooldown. We have 2 of them, so luckily, we can get 2 of them and then have the 10 seconds to get the third one. This is exactly where I said not having that third gas would bite him in the butt here, because it doesn't really have the gas to warp in a bunch of DTs consistently and stream them down here. If he did, he could really punish no Robo here, because these Oracles will eventually run out of energy as well. He can't just keep tagging 3 at a time, full of energy. He could stream down DTs if he had a bunch of gateways. He could just keep streaming. If these gateways were done, right? Let's assume these gateways were done. Let's assume he had these gas faster. If he just kept warping in DTs, this Oracle would not keep up. He would need a Robo. And he could deny the Robo with subsequent DTs because it's not even started yet. He's in panic mode for sure. Imagine he lost the Oracle though. That would, if he had lost the Oracle, that could definitely have been GG on the spot. He does warp in 1 more DT. Doesn't have the gas for a lot of DTs. Oh, very cute. He kind of blinks forward and traps the DTs here. That's very cute. Very cute. Amazing play. Good control. Another DT gonna come in here though. Yeah, and still no Robo. This is a madman. He's like, oh, DTs, no problem. I don't need a Robo. I mean, I would be freaking out right now. Wait, no Robo. No cannon. Probe line. Does lose 3 more. Does kill the DT shrine, so no more DTs and no more proxy warp in location. Interesting. And now let's take a look at the units tab. We have a honestly, the party is way ahead in terms of economy. 13 probes is huge, but Zest has the army advantage for sure. That being said, I believe +1 is in favor of. I believe it's in favor of parting. Yeah, we're not seeing any Forge here, right? No Forge at all from Zest. Looking at the main stasis trap over here. Apologize. That's good. Good blink micro. At the end of the day, parting gets a better trade of it. I've noticed this happening where the person who blinks in, even if you have the better numbers, for whatever reason, it never really works out well for that person. Union's loss up is pretty even, but I think that considering it's even, it hurts Zest more because, well, he had a big lead with the killing the DTs and the DT short initially. Now it's 16 stalkers to 9 stalkers. But partially that's also because of the economy difference as well. You know, he had probably more gateways. Was it 4 gates? Yeah, it was like 3 gates against 4 gates, I think. I was adding a lot more gateways. 8 gateways in a row here. 9 gateways in a row. Arden's back with 20 stalkers against 11 stalkers. I mean, this is looking pretty bad for Zest. Especially with the +1 being done. He does have charge lots, but I mean, charge lots in low numbers can't do anything to stalkers in high numbers. Oh, he kills this pylon too. Oh man, that sucks. Big mistake. Does manage to pick off the Prism, which is going to massively favor Zest, who has a warp in, and Party has no warp in. They barely. I mean, he'll survive because of that blink. If he didn't snipe that warp Prism, I think Party just wins right there. Honestly, all things considered, market-wise. Party should win that fight. Game continues now. Interesting play from both of these players. He puts this back online. It's kind of funny. Thank you. Entry for Guardian Shield is important. War Prism came back. So Parting is still ahead. He has a 4th base on the way. He's still up by 16 workers, which is massive. All things, at the end of the day, Parting is still ahead. Snipes the War Prism again. Oh man. These players are making a big mistake putting the War Prism so far forward. It really needs to be like here. It can never be in here, your army with blank stalkers. He's warping at home and route. Who's winning this fight? I think Parting is winning. He's got Immortal as well. A lot of Zealots. It's hard to tell. Yeah, how many Stalkers do we have? Usually the Stalker numbers are a good tell. 9 to 8, 11 to 7. It's pretty close. It's really close. Supply difference doesn't mean anything because of it's still 16 different. 16 supply is in probe, so it's like 100 supply to 75 supply. Party is slightly winning. That would be GG. Just barely, honestly. Just barely in his favor. Honestly, if Zest kept that War Prism, if either player kept the War Prism alive, they could have won a lot sooner or in a more convincing fashion. GG.